Welcome to our Educator Spotlight series hosted by Teachers Cultivating Compassion in Schools. This community, founded by Grok the World, supports educators in fostering emotional intelligence and meaningful connection. Today, I'm excited to introduce Mitch Weisburgh, the founder of Mindshifting with Mitch. Mitch is an educator, speaker, and author who helps people shift the way they think in order to create more joy, success, and connection in their lives. Thank you for being here, Mitch. Thanks for coming on
Well,
today.
Jennifer, thanks for talking with me.
Always a pleasure. So, to get started, would you like to share a little bit about yourself and what brings you to this work?
Well, what brings me to mind shifting is this angst that I felt, I guess probably for 20 years, where as a society, we're not dealing with big issues that we're facing because we're so divisive and
Hmm.
and we're fighting. And then um, related to that is we're not really training kids in the ways around that divisiveness and how to think for themselves and to be more resourceful. And so it kind of dawned on me that, instead of complaining about it, why don't I put together materials? And the first set of materials I put together, I used, I taught university students and I put together a 2-day course. I taught 65 students for a 2-day workshop. And at the end of the 2-day workshop, basically, they stood up and cheered, which was like really surprising. But
Wow.
that told me I hit a nerve because nobody teaches us that just because we think something is true doesn't make it true, that our brains come to conclusions really rapidly. And if we're not careful, they lock into those things and then we fight or flight to defend them rather than rethink them. And just,
Right.
when we think that we can't do something, but we really could, but that blocks our access to our resourcefulness. Or we think somebody's disagreeing with us, but we come to a snap decision and maybe they just made an innocuous remark that we just took the wrong way. So when you teach people how to be self-aware of all these different things that our brain is doing to fool us that become counterproductive, and then how to quiet those portions of the brain, and then how to reach their resourcefulness, and then how to interact with others, it
Mm,
like that's why these kids were so excited. And so that's really what I'm doing. I decided that my focus is on education because my thought is if I can teach teachers A, how to do this, and
mm,
B, how to teach this, then maybe this next generation will grow up and lead productive lives. And so
mhm.
that's my mission. Somehow or other, if we can reach 5 million kids around the world
Yeah.
and teach them these techniques, and nonviolent communications is a big part of it because you have to understand, how what you say is influencing the what other people perceive.
Hmm.
And so that's a big part of the messaging as well. And what you
Amazing.
guys are doing is so critical because you're making it fun to learn about nonviolent communications and emotions.
Yeah, we're all on the same team. We're all
Yep.
on the same mission. I love it. Very cool. Thank you, Mitch. And what are you working on right now that's lighting you up the most?
So people are telling me, and they're really right, that I tend to get involved in too many things at once. So all these things light me up. First of all, I love writing articles about things that are happening and how this relates to resourcefulness or resilience or collaboration and how people are kind of blowing it. And so I write a blog or a newsletter, mindshiftingwithmitch.blog,
Mhm.
where I write about a lot of things that are happening and how the people who were trying to make things happen are going about it in the wrong way, but what they could be doing if they really wanted to move forward. So
Mhm.
that's one. Two, I have 3 courses that I teach to educators. One course is on resourcefulness. That
Mhm.
course is about the brain itself and how we can tap into our own resourcefulness, uh,
Mhm.
understanding how our survival parts of the brain are really fast, but they primarily are looking for fight or flight,
Yeah.
and how we can be aware that we're in fight or flight mode, how we can calm that down, and then how we can tap into our ability to connect with other people, how to make sure that we're doing aligns with our higher level goals, how to be resourceful even when things don't turn out the way we want to. So that's the
Mhm.
first course is on resourcefulness. The second course is on resilience, which is really how we approach situations in a way that allows us to iterate, because
Hmm.
very often we walk into a problem and we think, oh my gosh, there's one right solution to this problem and I'm going to find it, and anybody else who disagrees with me, they're wrong.
Yeah.
Well, most problems don't have one right solution. Some of them we need more expertise, we need more analysis, uh, we need to synthesize new things. And so those situations where we need, say, expertise or analysis or data, those are more complicated problems. They probably do have solutions. Probably one solution would work, but there may be 10 different things that would work, and there's trade-offs. And the way
Mhm.
we approach those solutions are very different from the way we would approach solutions where there is one right answer. And
Right.
then there's the situations where nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what the answer is going to be. And those are what we call complex, instead of complicated, complex situations. And in those cases, because we don't know what's going to work, we have to be willing to try things, use the results in order to come up with the next things that we do. And so
Mm.
first is understanding which types of situations are complex, and second, understanding how do we come up with those things that we try, and third, then how do we get other people to buy into that, is dealing with complex problems. And then we face those issues where either there's something that's dangerous or risky,
Mhm.
or there's somebody who's trying to convince us that something is dangerous, and the only solution is to do what they say because we have to regard them as an expert and follow them.
Right.
And we get trapped into that. But when we become aware that that's just a tactic that people use in order to manipulate us, we can
Mhm.
take a step back, and we don't have to get angry at it. It's just, ha, they're trying to manipulate me again. This isn't really dangerous. I can take some time and I can figure out what to do. So
Yeah.
that second course is on, how to be resilient. And the third course is on conflict and collaboration. First of all, because understand, no matter what we do, people are going to get in our way. People are going to disagree with us. People are going to try to maybe hurt us. Um, some people we're just not going to like, and yet somehow or other we have to work with them anyway. And the things that we naturally do that are survival parts of a brain think that we should be doing, which is convince them with facts or logic, or reward them or punish them. A lot of those things don't work. A lot of those things may work in the short term, but long term they don't work. And a lot of them are actually counterproductive. So understanding that there's 5 different ways of dealing with conflicts, and then understanding that when we are in a conflict, that if we want to resolve it with the other people, we have to first connect with them. And things like motivational interviewing or things like nonviolent communications, they're the tools that we use to connect with other people and then move forward with them to solve the problems instead of trying to dictate that to them what they should be doing, in which case they're going to resist. So that's the collaboration part of the course. So I
Oh,
teach those courses to educators,
yeah.
and one could go to my website, mindshiftingwithmitch.com,
Mhm.
and you can find those courses. And then I've written my first book, okay, which is
Yay.
based on that first course on the brain. That's Mind Shifting: Stop Your Brain from Sabotaging Your Happiness and Success. And so that book is available on Amazon. And I'm writing a second book. My second book is actually on that third element, on conflict and collaboration,
Mhm.
because I just saw people when I've been teaching that course over the last year. It's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that when I said something this way, it was inflaming the problem rather than helping the
Right.
problem. And so when I
Absolutely.
when I saw that reaction, it was like, okay, that's got to be my second book. That book should be out in by the end of October 2025, and that'll
Yeah.
be available on Amazon also.
Awesome.
And then I'm putting together an online course that's not going to be instructor led, but this will also be on the resourcefulness element. And that course is going to be using AI agents. So there's about 35 different techniques in order to teach you how to calm down your limbic parts of the brain, and
Mhm.
how to then tap into your creativity, your ability to empathize, your ability for executive function.
Mhm.
And within that course are, first of all, the material to teach. Second of all, interactive exercises so you can practice. But
Mhm.
even more important for me is there will be 30 different AI agents. So for each one of those techniques, there'll be an AI agent that will walk you through. Okay, do you have a problem that you're facing, or can you think of a problem where either you or somebody else is facing that is like this? Okay,
Yeah.
let me walk you through what I like about that technique in order to be able to solve that problem. Do you think you'll be able, you walk the person through that, and then do you think you'll be able to use this? How do you think you'll be able to use that? So what I've tried to do is train those AI agents with the things that I would be doing if I
Yeah.
were one-on-one with a person. So those are the different things that I'm working on, and I love doing them all, which is really hard for me to then stop and say, you know something, focus on one, you idiot. No, I can't do that. I have to try all of them.
Well, they all sound really exciting and really important in this world. What would you most like educators in our audience to take away from your work if you had like one message?
So the one message I want for educators to take away from this is that you guys are great.
Yeah.
And you guys really are resourceful. And I know that you're getting pressure from all these different sides, from all these different directions. And just like take some time during the day and be kind to yourself, because what you're doing is you're setting the world up to be a better place. So thank you, and remember to thank yourself.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mitch. That was
Well,
very
thank you.
inspiring, very exciting. I can't wait to check out more of what you're doing and look into your courses and your books. Oh, so many cool projects. Cool. Well, thank you.